Welcome to all participants. I hope you have a good lunch and have a good break. So for now, we are gonna continue to our next sessions with Prof. Suherman. So I will introduce briefly about Prof. Suherman to you guys. So Prof. Suherman obtained his PhD in environmental science from Hokkaido University, Japan, and currently serve as a lecturer and also a researcher in the Department of Chemistry, Faculty of Mathematics and Natural Science, Universitas Gadjah Mada, and was recently inaugurated as professor in analytical and environmental chemistry. His expertise and research interests are closely related to analytical chemistry and environmental chemistry, particularly in the areas of environmental monitoring, chemical analysis, nanomaterial-based sensors and biosensors, heavy metal detections, wastewater analysis, and environmental remediation technologies. And for today, Prof. Suherman will deliver a presentation entitled Introduction to Instrumental Analysis. Prof. Suherman, are you ready to share your presentation?
Yes. My voice clear over
Yeah, we
there.
can hear you clearly. Prof.
Yeah, thank
Suherman, the
you.
time is yours.
Thank you. Uh, so good afternoon, everyone, and Professor. So thank you for this such a good opportunity having me to join this summer school conducted by Faculty of Animal Sciences, Universitas Gadjah Mada. So yeah, today I would like to introduce briefly regarding the instrumental analysis on leather industry. So yes, before going to the main topics, allow me to introduce UGM, possibly some of the Vice Dean or Dean already introduced this the data about our university, but allow me to little bit introduce for all participants regarding our university. So Universitas Gadjah Mada is one of the eldest public university in Indonesia. Currently, we are number one in academic reputation based on the QS rank. And this is our main building from the top view. So you can see here the main building and the Faculty of Animal Science. I think little bit far from the left side from this building. The right side of this building, just crossing the road. This is Faculty of Science. This is my faculty actually. And the left side, it is the Faculty of Medicine and Pharmacy. So if you have time, please just sightseeing to little bit familiar with our university because it is quite big area, so you can spend your free time to enjoy the situation and condition of our university. Universitas Gadjah Mada located in Yogyakarta. This city, our city, Yogyakarta, is very well known as the culture and educational city because, as you know, we are still active Sultan Palace Kingdom of Java still exists here. Also, he is running as our governor in Yogyakarta. But as educational city in Yogyakarta, we have around 100 universities with more than 300,000 students. So that's why Yogyakarta also very well known as educational city. And you can see here that we have this is one of the seven wonders in the world, Buddhist temple, the biggest Buddhist temple in the world, Borobudur. In the right side, you can see here, and the left side, this is the Hindu temple, Prambanan. Not far away from here, maybe for Prambanan side temple, only 30 or 40 minutes. But for Borobudur temple, maybe 1.5 hours from the university area. Okay. And we have also the mountain. This is the Merapi mountain. some experts said this is the second or third most active volcano mountain in the world. Yeah, that's why it is very familiar for the Yogyakarta people that maybe every year we feel the how to say yeah, this from the active volcano mountain from Merapi. So sometimes there are some small eruption coming from this mountain. Yeah, and also the beaches area we can see here on the right side. So 2 hours from here in the southern part of Yogyakarta, you can enjoy the situation of the this is Indian Ocean, I think. Yeah, Indian Ocean with the beautiful coastline and so on. Yeah, and UGM, as you know, we have recently more than 500,000 alumni actually. Yeah, recently we have more than 500,000 alumni, and you know this how to say famous person here, as you know the former president, our seventh former president, Mr. Joko Widodo. He is the alumni from the Faculty of Forestry. And also, this is the active members of the current cabinet of Indonesia government. So you can see this is Mr. Basuki. This is also from the Faculty of Forestry. Also, this is Professor Pratikno from Political Science faculty, and so on. Yeah. So UGM is very well known with the alumni who act as the top leader in Indonesia government. Yeah. Based on the statistic, UGM we have 18 faculties and 2 schools. So currently we have more than 60,000 students and 3,000 staff lecturer with more than 500 professors. Yeah. So you can see the data, the statistical data from our university, and yeah, also the other achievement like last year we published more than 5,000 international papers, international journal, and so on. So you can check later on. And yeah, there is other data from our university,
13.
and we have also many collaboration with maybe almost 1,000
13,
institutions
please.
abroad, yeah, from more than 50 countries in the world. So you can see the data, and I think this is too much to explain in more detail. Yeah. Okay, come back to the our main topics today about the analytical method for the leather industry. So from the data, based on the Acumen Research and Consulting data, we know that global leather market mostly used to the footwear and other, for example, the apparel and handbag and so on. So the total market size based on the data from 2021, almost more than 400 billion US dollar. So this is very big market from this data. So that's why we know that for the developed country, this market is very big, and recently is increasing, comparing to the data. And the problem is most of the tanning process in the leather industry is coming from the chromium tannage. The data said it is about 80 to 85%, and the other one, chrome-free tannage, is only 15 to 20%. So that's why this is the homework for us, because you know the chromium ions in the wastewater, this is very toxic, especially in the form of the chromium hexavalent. Chromium hexavalent. So our purpose is based on this summer school. Of course, we looking for the process that is more sustainable environmentally. That's why many industry looking for the recycling process, to reach the sustainability aspect for the industrial process. And also the problem from the height, the leather and the skin from the industry, this is also not easy to handle, because there are so many aspects should be tackled based on the problem in the industry. So yeah, this is the type of the leather tanning, little bit introduction. The first one is the chrome tanning. This is the most popular, as I mentioned before, that the data said that 80-85% the global leather industry came from this chrome tanning. This is we can use the chromium salt for this method and other chemicals to tan the leather. It is completed in a matter of days. So the reason the chrome tanning is the first option for the leather industry, because also the timing. So by this chrome tanning, the process will be only in days or in a week. And the characteristic is produce very soft product, flexible, brightly colored, and highly resistant to the water and heat. Yeah. The second one, we can use the vegetable tanning. This is the oldest and the most traditional method for the leather industry, relying entirely on the natural tannin from the tree bark, leaf, and the nuts. Yeah. But the problem is by using these vegetable tannings, normally takes very long time, sometimes up to months or even a year. Yeah. So this duration making the process is very expensive. But the characteristic from the vegetable tanning, the produce stiff, thick, and durable leather than the unique darkening and softening over the time, and also eco-friendly, of course, because we use the vegetable. This is the biomass, yeah, and can stand in the if exposed to water. This is also the disadvantage from the vegetable tanning product. The third one, this is we call the combination, yeah, semi-vegetable. This method combines both chrome and vegetable tanning to achieve the best of both world effect. Yeah, and the characteristic from this type of the tanning is offer the softness and vibrant coloration of chrome tanned leather, along with the firmness and ability to the edge of the vegetable tanned leather. So normally this combination used for the shoes and also bags. And the next one, chrome-free tanning. So they use the aldehyde tanning. This is the specifically when the leather need to be hypoallergenic or extremely heat resistant. So for the special purposes, we can use this kind of the chrome-free tanning. So in this case, the chromium salt will be replaced by the alternative tanning agent, such as the pepersite, to achieve the white color of So the characteristic from this type of the tanning, it will produce the extremely safe for the skin and heat resistant, but generally the durability, yeah, is low, and the price will be more expensive. And the use for this type of the chrome-free tanning is especially for the car interiors and also for the airplane seat. Yeah. And the next one, so-called the old tanning. This is the historical preservation method, often used to heavy duty work for the outdoor activity. So we use the fat and the oils and apply and force into the leather fibers after initial tanning. So this is kind of the secondary type of the tanning, and the characteristic will produce the highly water resistant, soft, and also stretchy leather that is breathable. Yeah. So yeah, I took this image from the internet just to describe for all participants the process regarding the leather tanning process. Yeah, and this is also just to consideration about the old style of the tanning process, and based on the sustainability aspect. So chrome-free leather, we say for leather, yeah. This is the pre-tannage by glutaraldehyde, as we mentioned in previous slide, and polyphenol, because this is from the vegetable and xanthan tanning agent. So this chrome-free leather, the industry tried to replace the, how to say, the conservative method like using chrome with the chrome-free leather tanning. Yeah, but of course there are some advantages and disadvantages based on this process. If we consider the advantages, because this is chrome-free, so there will be no heavy metals, especially chromium ion in the wastewater. Also less problem in solid waste disposal. Yeah, because it will be free from the heavy metals and improve the dry shrinking behavior. Yeah, this is the advantage from the chrome-free leather process. But yeah, we have both sides. Yeah, the disadvantage will be higher chemical oxygen demand here in the effluent. That is the fixation of the dye stuff and fat liquoring agent. Extremely difficult of hydrophobic because they use the most organic biomass here in this case without how to say heavy metal or the iron. So the pH will be hydrophobic. More difficult handling in production and processing. Also, the stability will be lower and wood resistance
34 udah tahu
of the
starting
semi-finished
nomor
product.
apa nama?
So
Nomor
if
9.
we
Nomor
asking
9.
what kind of the, how to say, the wastewater, yeah, from the leather tanning industry. So from the beam hose wastewater, this is came from the activity of high pressure version, soaking and hiring, and also liming operation. So in this wastewater, normally will be in base condition, highly alkaline, with heavy load of the suspended solid because came from the raw hide or leather, and also dissolved protein here and toxic sulfide. And the characteristic from this wastewater also, they have the high chemical oxygen demand or the high COD. Yeah. And the second one from the deliming and bathing wastewater, this is came from the neutralizing process of the high alkalinity using acid. So because in the first process we know that the pH is in base condition, so we have to normalize. We have to neutralize the condition of the base solution by acid and enzyme to prepare for the tanning process further. So the characteristic containing the level of the ammonia, nitrogen, sulfate, and chloride. This is the from the bathing wastewater. And the third one, the wastewater from the tanning process. This is from the main tanning process. Stabilize the collagen fibers using the chromium trivalent or chromium 3 salt or the vegetable tanning. So the characteristic, of course, high concentration of the chromium from this wastewater type. Also the dissolved salt and the pH is lower in acidic condition. And if we use the vegetable tanning instead of the chrome tanning, it will be dark in color and rich in tannin because from the biomass make it resistant to the natural degradation. And the next one, wastewater came from the post-tanning process, from the neutralization, retaining, for example, because sometimes it is not enough to only one shoot of the tanning process, from dyeing and fat liquoring. Yeah, and the characteristic of this wastewater, this will be color wastewater containing the residual dyes, heavy metals, and synthetic tannins. and also oils or greases. Yeah, it poses the challenge for the biodegradability. And the last one, normally the final process, producing the wastewater from the finishing process. Yeah. So this is for the surface coating and polishing of the dry leather. Yeah, typically the volume of the wastewater is low but highly concentrated with the pigment, resin, and solvent. Yeah. So talking about the instrumental analysis, so this is the typically some of the method, the instrumental method that we use in the leather industry. So for example, the first one we use the Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy. This is analytical instrumentation for rapid and non-destructive identification of leather type to distinguish judge that this type of the leather, this is the natural or the synthetic leather, detecting the adulteration, sometimes from the fraud, this is fake leather or not, and profiling the functional group. For example, I put
Jadi maaf ya terlambat selesai.
IR spectra here, A and B, so you can compare that from the left side, the
selesai deh.
IR spectra came from the natural leather here, and the right side, this is from the synthetic leather. So you can see that the sharpness of the peak of the spectrum of infrared, you can comparing the data, but this is from the journal. So you have to confirm by yourself what is the difference between the synthetic and the natural leather. But we can use, this is one of the method that we can use to distinguish between the synthetic leather and natural leather. So the principle of the FTIR, this is the spectroscopy, this is molecular spectroscopy. If we divide it, the spectroscopy based on the method, we can distinguish between the atomic spectroscopy and molecular spectroscopy. So in case of the FTA, the chemical absorb the specific frequency of the light based on their unique vibrational energy, vibrational of the bond between the atoms. That's why profiling the functional group is the key factor for this method. The instrument record an interferogram, which is converted into a spectrum via the Fourier transform mathematical process. So the typical data you can see here, this is the peak of the IR spectrum. You can sometimes there are also the database to comparing. For example, we want to qualitative analysis to make sure that this is came from what type of the leather, for example, because we can compare with the database. This is the FTIR. The second one, this is the typical instrumentation used in the leather industry. For the heavy metal analysis, there are three options actually, but I will maybe discuss a little bit detail for the last one. But we can use the ICP method, inductively coupled plasma. So the flame came from the plasma process. This is the gold standard for the heavy metal analysis. For example, for the chromium and cadmium, and produce the highest limit of detection. Highest mean comparing for the AS and X-ray fluorescence, the ICP-OS or ICP-MS, this is the best one to, if you looking for the better and the best limit of detection to to calculate the concentration of the heavy metal, for example chromium in the tanning process. The second one, we use the X-ray fluorescence. This is rapid and non-destructive elemental profiling of the wastewater and sludge, determining which metal are present. And the last one, This is the Danki method, very slow but very unique. Yeah, this is from my laboratory, from Perkin Elmer company. Yeah, this is the atomic absorption spectrophotometry. This three method, this is the atomic spectroscopy, because this method calculating the concentration of the atoms. Yeah, for the atomic absorption spectrometry, we can calculate the total chromium. So we cannot distinguish between the chromium 3 and chromium 6 by this method. Yeah. So this is the principle of the atomic absorption spectroscopy. So the EAS measures the concentration of the specific element. It operates at the principle that three ground state atoms absorb the electromagnetic radiation, and by unique wavelength, the transition to the higher energy state. So this is the sample solution. So for the atomization process, they use the flames. So in this flame body, they will be the ground state of the atom, and then the hollow cathode lamp produce the light with the specific energy, and the atoms in this flame will absorb the energy, and then continue with the monochromator and detector. So this is the simple principle, basic principle of the atomic absorption spectroscopy to measure the, for example, the concentration of the chromium and other heavy metal inside the wastewater from the leather tanning industry. And the next one, this is maybe very common and very popular for all participants using the UV spectrophotometry. This is for the color removal analysis, yeah, by colorimetric testing of hexavalent chromium and ammonia. So if you want to distinguish between the hexavalent chromium and trivalent chromium, we can use the reagent of the diphenyl carbazide. Yeah. So the color wastewater removal from after the analysis, we can see here. Yeah, because in the leather tanning industry, normally the color, the dyeing, and so on. So we can how to say monitor the concentration and also the how to say the transformation of the color of the wastewater by using this UV spectrophotometer. Yeah. This is the principle of the UV spectrophotometer. Yeah, based on the absorption of the UV and visible light by molecule. This is the key factor. By molecule means this UV spectrophotometer, also the molecular spectroscopy. Yeah, so you have to distinguish between this is the atomic spectroscopy or the molecular spectroscopy. Yeah, when the light passes through the sample, the certain wavelength will absorb, causing the electron to undergo the transition from the lower energy to the higher energy state. Yeah, this is the basic principle. Of course, we have to how to say read in more detail regarding the principle of the UV spectrometer. And we can also use this ion chromatography in the leather industry, because normally we have the high concentration of the chloride, sulfate, and sulfate during the unhiring process, deliming, and also the bleaching operation. Yeah, and yeah, by this ion chromatography, we can calculate and quantify the anions. Yeah. Chloride, sulfate, and so on, nitrate, and so on. And also we can distinguish the anion with the cation, yeah, sodium, ion sodium, kalium, and calcium, for example. Yeah. This is the principle of the ion chromatography, the separation technique based on the polar molecule and distinct the affinity to the charged stationary phase. Yeah, by pumping the liquid mobile phase, the eluent, because in chromatography we have the stationary phase and the mobile phase. Yeah, so by pumping the liquid mobile phase through the column, yeah, the ionic sample component separated, and based on the reversible electrostatic interaction. Yeah, so this is the how to say the description for the principle of ion chromatography. Yeah, so of course, this is maybe all of you already know this one, the pH meter, yeah. Because normally, step by step, we know that to manage the wastewater from the leather tanning industry, there are some method used to to manage the wastewater. But normally, every step we have to control the pH. We have to monitor the pH by the pH meter. So tannery wastewater will be changing during the liming operation. This is the best condition to the acidic during the pickling. Yeah, that's why we have to monitor and we have to
Ini
control the
paling
how to say
parah di WA-nya, Pak.
the changing of the pH by
WA
this
kalau dia
pH
tidak
meter.
ini
Yeah. So the pH measurement for
bermasalah betul,
controlling
Pak.
the chemical dosing, for example, the sulfide oxidation,
Ini bermasalah betul ini
and
HP-nya.
what happened during the
Dia
chromium precipitation, because we
isiannya
want to monitor the condition and ensuring the effluent valve within the permissible discharge limit. So this is the target of the pH, usually in the range of the 6 to 9. That's why pH meter also, this is the instrumental tools that very important during the the management of the wastewater from the leather industry. Yeah, this is the principle of the pH meter. Actually, based on the potentiometric principle, the electrical potential difference between the glass electrode, the sensing electrode, we can see here, the working electrode, and the reference electrode. This is the reference electrode immersed in solution. This voltage is converted to the pH value. So voltage change proportionally to the H plus activity. So the meter translate this difference into the pH reading based on the Nernst equation. So this is the basic principle for the pH meter. So the difference of the H plus activity, so translate to the number of the pH. Yeah. So that's all. Maybe not so detailed regarding the instrumental method for the leather industry, but I hope that you have some information from this time. Thank you. Return back to the moderator.
Yes, thank you, Prof. Suherman, for your interesting and insightful presentation. So now for the discussion time, for any participants, do you have any questions about the introduction to chemical analysis? Well, it's pretty interesting about the facts that actually how close the leather production into to chemical analysis, Prof. Suherman.
Yes. Yeah, of course, because many chemicals used in this industry. Yeah, so I'm came from the chemistry department, so we have some quote that life is chemistry and no life without chemistry, right? So of course, not only for the leather industry, but all life is always related with the chemical compound, right?
Correct. So for now, we have our speaker actually, so Mr. Chris Jacklin here in the room. Maybe your question.
Just make a comment, really. Hello, Professor. Thank you for your presentation. One big bugbear with me is when we call non-leather substrates synthetic leather.
Yes.
Because it is not synthetic leather. You have leather or plastic. So this term has been used to greenwash against the leather industry. So all of us involved in the leather industry should not use the term synthetic leather. It's synthetic or it's not.
Okay.
Please, the whole, I mean, I think there's even court cases in Italy about this. You know, and I've been to trade fairs in China where the last time I went, there was one hall of leather and there was 10 halls in Shanghai, 10 halls of synthetic leather. I ripped the banner down because it's not, and it's deceiving the consumer and the public. Yeah, just bear that in mind. Sorry for getting excited.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, totally agree, sir. This is just based on our perspective, actually. Yeah. So totally agree with you.
Ini baru
If
muncul deh.
we use
Biasa
your
launching HP-nya
perspective, I
Bayo,
think
Oppo itu
100%
langka
correct. Yeah.
launchingnya.
So yeah, as Dan Mai said, so all the chemical compound is same. Yeah, this is not synthetic or non-synthetic, but sometimes for the how to say people, they just try to distinguish regarding the quality or something like that. So they say this is the synthetic one, this is the how to say the natural one, and so on. But based on my opinion, I totally agree, sir. Yes.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Prof. Suherman. We got the one question in the chat box. I will read it out for you. This is from Bayu Aryawan. He's asking in Indonesia. Saya bacakan ya, Prof. Bagaimana patokan pengujian FTIR dan pH kulit dari sisi industri, boga, dan fashion bagi memastikan kualitas kulit bagi kedua industri memiliki standarisasi SNI atau ISO dari hulu.
Industri boga itu maksudnya makanan.
Betul, Prof.
Sorry? Yes?
Betul, Prof.
Okay, so maybe I will comment for the first question, yeah, regarding the FTIR analysis for the leather industry. So yeah, actually we can skip the this is the true or the fake product, yeah, but based on the science, so the FTIR we can use to check the quality of the leather, actually, yeah, because by this FTIR we can confirm the functional group of the leather, for example, and by this database normally people will adjust that this is the quality of the leather confirmed, and we can adjust, we can judge that this leather came from this type of the for example the type of the leather and so on. So we can use the FTIR. But for the pH, actually, pH normally used for controlling the wastewater treatment, actually. Yeah, as far as I know that because we have target before releasing the wastewater to the, for example, the river or the water channel or something like that. Government have the rule, yeah. Indonesian government have the rule. If the leather industry want to release the wastewater, before releasing, they will check, yeah, what is the pH range, what is the concentration of the chromium or other heavy metal inside the wastewater. So, for example, for the pH, they have the standard before release the wastewater to the river, for example. So the industry should be obey and follow the rule. For example, the target pH is 6 to 9. So sometimes the government, the staff of the government, the person of the government randomly will check what kind of the pH from the wastewater released to the river. So that's why most of the pH checking, yeah, is based on for the wastewater management system, I think, yeah. But as I told before in my presentation that in the process they will check step by step, yeah, because to manage the wastewater from the leather industry, this is not only one method. Sometimes we need the flocculation process, yeah, agglomeration process. We have to neutralize the pH. We have to absorb by the, for example, zeolite, yeah, to absorb the heavy metal. We have to neutralize the color dye with water and so on. So there are many methods before releasing the wastewater to the river. So for checking the progress of the pH, for example, for checking the condition of the wastewater, so the person, yeah, should check the pH every step from the process. Okay, that's my response. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Suherman. I will still.
We have another question from
Yes.
Dr. Douglas. Yeah.
Yeah. Can they?
Yeah. My comment is yes, because we have normally we compare with the database set. Yeah. Typically, for example, this is from the snake. This is from the, how to say, from the cow of something like that. Yeah. Different cattle and so on. So we can check from the database. Typically, the FKIR pattern from the different animals, it will be produced different. But yeah, as far as I know, normally we compare with the database. Yeah. That's my
Baik, sudah
response.
isi ya, Dek.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Suherman. How's the answer for Dr. Douglas? I think it is clear, yeah? Okay, for now, I think we don't have any more question for the onset.
Okay. Thank you.
Particularly, yes.
So my apologies not coming directly to the Faculty of Animal Science because of the limitation of the time. So, but this is my honor. Yeah, I'm happy to join this summer school, and thank you for all response and comment for this presentation. Thank you, and yeah, see you.
Before you go, Prof. Suherman, we would like.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Do I get 2 certificates then? Because I'm doing 2 presentations. So, are we still awake, everybody? I'm a little bit ngantuk. Sudah warak. So I try to keep you awake. So we had quite a long presentation this morning, which we had to truncate a little bit. This one I think will be a little bit shorter. But I want to investigate, looking more in depth at sustainability in the leather industry and the potential impacts.
Plastik tidak ada, Kadek. Bisa ini kalau minta plastik ya Bayu bawa, nanti Bayu pindahin sampahnya ke sini. Oke. Mau Bayu mau cari plastik.
Definition of sustainability. Anybody want an offer of an alternative definition, or we stick with this one? You didn't see it, Ronan. So what we're saying is sustainability is meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. I think that's a pretty good definition. So we'll stick with that. Now, what I want to do is go in a bit more detail through the flowchart of key processes in the leather manufacturing process. So, upstream processes, this is before the tanning. We have farming of livestock. It can be in small farms, can be in massive ranches, depending on what is prevalent in that country. The livestock is then sent to slaughter, and again, this can be from individual butchering and slaughtering of sheep and goats, and especially around religious times here in Islamic countries, to industrialized slaughterhouses in countries like Australia, US, South America, Argentina and Brazil. Very, very systematic slaughtering. And then we go to the hide and skin preservation. So as soon as the skin is taken from the animal, it can start to putrefy. It can start to down.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
It gets to the tannery is hide, skin and
Sudah on,
preservation.
Prof.
This is normally done with salt.
Sudah mulai lagi.
With salt. It can be freezing, can be other methods as well, but salt is 90% of the hide and skin preservation. Then we come to the leather factory, the tannery. So here we have processes 4 to 8. So a tannery can be processing from rawhide, from wet blue, from crust leather. It can be many different facility arrangements. Here we look at a full-fledged tannery. Raw material coming in, and dry finished leather going out to the customer. So 4 is raw to tan process. So as we saw in the professor's last presentation, this is when the hides arrive. Soaking is the first process. So soaking brings the hide back to its natural state, rehydrates it, then into deliming, into pickling, then into chrome tanning if it's been. Of course, there's differences. It can be split dyeing,
Di Kendari Prof Dara, di Kendari Prof Dara, hanya di teknologi pengolahannya Prof. Kalau di peminatan itu daging, telur, susu,
jadi
dan kalau misalnya nanti ada yang berminat untuk training sampai dengan itu sebenarnya intinya
you cannot correct the mistake.
Harapannya bahwa ilmu ini adalah sesuatu yang baru, walaupun masih sangat sulit untuk diterapkan di Indonesia, terutama di daerah kita.
After splitting, shaving, and sorting, we go to retanning, fat liquoring,
sesuatu yang baru ya, sesuatu yang baru terdapat, dan kemudian
this is where the leather is being aesthetically changed, it's been filled,
karena mereka ini kan terutama seperti Eropa itu, mereka tidak sembarang memberikan materi seperti ini. Selanjutnya kita tidak harganya dia. Kita membayangkan dia itu dengan kondisi bahwa mereka yang sangat sempit sekali masih bisa memberikan materi-materi. Sampai si memberi materi itu organik. Hanya waktu beberapa menit saja itu dia pergi lagi. Hanya karena ibarat kewajiban
this is crucially important in leather because if you dry the leather incorrectly, you spoil the leather.
Dan hari
So
ini
drying, and there's many ways of drying, from drying, vacuum drying. It's vitally important that the humidity is controlled throughout the process, so you get proper drying, you get proper supple leather when you
dan sementara sekarang ini kami menunggu memasukkan ya, memasukkan itu harus saling memasukkan, memasukkan. Hari ini soalnya masih WA, ya kan, jadi pegawai dalam jadi pagi, jadi nanti ada seminggu kami menggunakan surat, kemudian nanti selesai nomor kami lengkapi materi-materi di belakangnya, kemudian nanti kita kirim ke grupnya Anda. Jadi kalau jadi salah satunya adalah untuk menghemat kertas. Sekarang kan penghematan kertas ya.
This is a simplified version. As we know, people who have been to Italy especially, it's very, very complicated with subcontraction. There are factories in Santa Croce that just do plating, that just do splitting, and all the tanneries send them to there. So that's subcontracting out. So that's the direct processes.
Jadi nanti kami ini akan menjalankan dalam bentuk
So the finished leather goes for product assembly, whether it's a shoe, garment,
simbolis saja ya, nanti ada siapa wakil teman Anda yang menerimanya,
dispatch and warehousing.
Then
number 10, fulfillment of retail, and then to post-consumption. So how the product is disposed
tadi
of.
ada proses ya, proses itu sebenarnya salah satu tujuannya lakukan
Flowchart
Anda
of
itu sudah tidak ya, tapi memberikan dan gambaran bahwa apakah apa yang didapat selama ini
we're going to
Anda
look at the
memahami tidak?
sustainability risks.
Kalaupun Anda tidak memahaminya sampai di mana Anda memahaminya.
We have those
Karena memang
same
ini bidang
areas
Istilahnya
there.
bukan tidak ada langsung ya di
Processing.
tapi pendidikan bahwa ini
We're going to look at how
pembelajarannya sekali.
sustainability risks are associated with
Kemudian
each
juga tadi
of
umpan
those
balik,
steps.
umpan balik juga ini adalah
So, deforestation,
sesuatu yang penting untuk memberikan masukan kepada kami.
livestock,
Ya, karena kami ini kan juga
biodiversity,
dinilai dari proses Eropa, ya.
animal
Apakah
welfare,
kami
that was
sudah
both
memberikan materi itu?
slaughtering the
Kemudian materi
animal
itu
and
apakah
farming and upkeeping
misalnya
and while the animals
peserta
are
kita
alive.
semua itu memahaminya atau tidak ya?
Wow.
Jadi,
Here, this is
kita kan
when we
berusaha untuk
introduce the
memahaminya walaupun
chemicals, the industrial processing. So we have air pollution.
Bagi
Can actually go back to the slaughterhouse. There can be air pollution
Tapi
there.
sebelum kami penutupan ya,
It can
kepada Anda apakah ada yang mau ditanya?
also go to product manufacturer and rubber manufacturer, where we see mostly. So this is pollution to the air, as we heard again in one of the previous lectures there.
Prof, Bayu mungkin ini berdiskusi Prof, tapi di luar konteks ini Prof. Ada yang Bayu bawa Prof. Nah nanti Prof di luar konteks soalnya. Di luar konteks soalnya ini Prof.
That you're putting in, and it goes to product manufacturer.
Ya, jadi saya juga terima kasih kepada edukasi ya, karena
Better value chain where water pollution can be
bisa mencukupkan ya kita punya kegiatan ini. Kalau tidak ada juga kan repot juga kita nih. Iya ada kan di kami tidak ada pesertanya. Ya kan jadi pesertanya ada begitu ya. Karena adik-adik saat ini sebenarnya bukan kami tidak mau, tapi karena memang bertepatan dengan fase perkuliahannya itu dan itu ya sangat sulit untuk padat ya. Yang harusnya sebenarnya ini kita laksanakan di waktu
maybe
itu.
they're finishing the product, putting some
Ya,
extra
maksudnya itu ada libur, kita laksanakan itu tapi karena kegiatan ini merupakan kegiatan yang punya waktu, time ini
Tergantung dengan mata kuliahnya.
tidak waktunya itu hanya sampai dengan maksimal bulan 6 harus dilaksanakan.
when you're putting a shoe, you have waste leather that you have to
Pas
dispose
Idul
of.
Adha juga Prof. Biasanya lebih banyak kurban. Tapi kalau ini pas tepatnya momennya dengan penyerahan Adha.
What do we do
Oke, kalau begitu mungkin
with
kita
the product when it's reached?
nyerah dulu ya, siapa yang mewakili?
How is it disposed of?
Yang mewakili penyerahan sertifikat? Hah? Mana kertasnya?
We link the risks,
Langsung nih.
Seakan-akan itu ya.
aspects that we talked about
Kalau selesai itu ya.
environmental, social, and governance. We link those also into this value supply chain. So energy consumption across all, greenhouse gas, all, health, safety, and PPE across all, human rights, ethical business across all, labor risks, and
Ya
water
karena
risks,
tamu dari Eropa itu akan datang bulan depan.
social and governance
24,
impacts
25.
we see in this value chain.
Mereka dinas itu 25-26 Juni.
Oh 200 oh ya Bayu catat tanggal 25 26. Oh 24-nya di Hotel Unhas Prof Maram biasa atau
24 itu perjalanan. 25 itu meeting di hotel
Unhas. Oke. Siapa?
26 itu termasuk berkunjung ke land.
Siapa? Nanti Bayu not tanggal 24 25 26.
Animals reproduce naturally.
Nanti siapa yang dari UGM Prof yang akan datang?
Dia ada 5. Ya, dia ada 5.
Prof Yuni, Prof Naf,
Semua datang semua yang materi itu.
Prof Yuni, Prof Naf,
Prof Nano, Prof apa namanya itu datang semua. Dari Eropa itu ada 8
termasuk Pak Insinyur Tiagian.
artinya.
So
Ya,
if we do
datang
take
juga.
good
Oke, Bayu akan ketemu.
Oke,
care for us
namanya deh.
at their death, so the meat that we eat, best quality, the skin or the hide that comes from the dead animal, the better we've looked after the animal in life, the better the quality of the skin, and the more chances we have to upgrade it into a really top grade level.
Oke.
Ya, nanti Anda juga bisa melihat foto-fotonya nanti kami akan kirimkan website-nya.
happy.
Ada di website-nya itu aktivitas selama pandemi. Dan nanti kita akan kirimkan grupnya ini. Jadi grupnya nggak terlalu ya. Karena sebelum kita kirim di sini, kita buat masing-masing namanya yang ada namanya di situ.
Prof, saya mohon izin Prof.
Ya.
Ini WAG, tolong untuk jangan keluar dari grup ya. Siapa tahu nanti. Nah ini masalahnya begini. Kalau share sesuatu informasi itu lebih tepatnya menghadap konteks. Tapi akhir-akhir ini minta maaf nih, ada banyak konteks-konteks yang tidak boleh. Dalam arti kata itu vulgar sekali. Seperti beberapa grup-grupnya yang Bayu lihat itu, ada yang mohon maaf, ada yang yang minta vulgar itu. Pokoknya jangan. Makanya ini berharap agar WA-nya harus diprotek. Jangan sampai nanti diubah jadi bisa minta pulsa, bisa apa, itu tidak boleh. Termasuk Bayu kena daripada masalah hack ini. Baik, dan juga Bayu berharap ya agar bisa selalu ada share-share tentang skill or height, Prof. Siapa tahu nanti ada, ini bukan hanya untuk ini, bisa juga lebih kombinasi yang penting sehasil. Pokoknya kalau ada itu insya Allah Bayu akan share. Baik, kalau ada teman-teman juga bakal share juga. Begitu juga ada Eko ini. Teman-teman ada Eko Mas. Itu saja Prof.
Microsoft. Wasn't he complaining that cows were causing a big problem with the methane?
Kalau kesan dan pesan, ini Bayu satu. Lupa.
Ya, jadi satu dari ini, satu dari sini.
Nobody listens to me.
Jangan kalau dipaksa. Wakil
So important.
Jangan dipaksa.
Natural, sustainable ecosystem. That's the key. Livestock farming enables
Langsung saja.
predatory need of the global population.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
And we have many samples in Bali. I'm anxious to see how this works. When they harvest the rice, they plant it again. And then suddenly, 400 bebek ducks with 2 duck herders, they come and they put them on the land for 2-3 weeks. And this is naturally fertilizing. No nitrogen, no chemical fertilizer. This is really where we should be going. So natural fertilization of the land, in this case, shit on the land.
Sampai kita tertipu, kita kira kulit ular, ternyata itu cuma kulit sapi tapi dicetak.
Natural deterrent to invasive species. So because the environment is in harmony and as it should be, species that are not welcome in that environment don't get in. Natural encouragement of beneficial because of the system.
Saya katakan hari ini, jangan malu untuk sendiri, karena matahari juga sendiri, tetapi dia bisa bersinar.
Bisa pengaruh yang temani. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ya ini yang satu juga sampaikan. Ya perempuan dulu. Biar adil ya.
And increase the amount of carbon stored in the soil. Healthy pastures also help pull CO2 from the atmosphere. So again, all these natural systems, the carbon cycle, the nitrogen cycle, they're all harmony. Man is done by industrializing itself. It's these natural systems in a state of disharmony. And this is the situation we find ourselves in now. Using these techniques against them. Rotational grazing. By rotating livestock between pasture areas, vegetation has time to recover
kesannya
soil
saya
carbon
merasa
storage also increases.
banyak hal baru yang
And
bisa dipelajari di
leads to land
ini,
degradation is minimal.
terus
So these are areas
bisa kenal sama
livestock management is so
kata-kata
important.
manusia, Bayu, sama kata-kata dari
Meets the definition of
kesannya
sustainable.
juga mungkin
And I
kurs ini bisa dapat dirasakan lagi dari anak-anak kelas lain, entah itu kelas lain, fakultas peternakan juga, atau bisa dirasakan dari luar ini juga lah.
that is not leather
Itu saja.
and is competing against leather. And if it's synthetic, sorry I'm ranting again, if it's synthetic, call it synthetic. Don't put leather on there.
Bayu.
Positive, right? So,
Nggak usah bahas terlalu banyak jadinya.
Iya.
or it's plastic.
Sedikit, pede, silakan. Yang pede aja ya.
Jangan pendek, Prof.
So,
Ini kami apa?
affect sustainability.
Ya, sharing.
Iya, iya, iya.
Jadi, mohon izin, Prof. Bayu ini punya insight tertarik dengan kulit, tapi ini lebih mengena kepada masalah tentang halal stockring. Karena di sini apapun mau tenant ataupun food, itu masalah tentang halal stockring ini menjadi salah satu poin terpenting di dalam peningkatan kualitas produk pangan secara umum. Maka dari itu Bayu tertarik mengikuti ini, Prof. Awalnya dulu Bayu pertama kali ikut UGM sampai sekarang ini sudah hari terakhir juga, Prof. Tapi ketika Bayu sekolah lihat peternakan UNHAS, kenapa nggak diupload juga di sama dengan UGM ini? Jadi, tapi alhamdulillahnya Bayu langsung screenshot dan Bayu mengikuti. Alhamdulillah, Bayu senang sekali bisa mengikuti acara ini, berkenalan sama teman-teman anak-anak vokasi juga. Walaupun sebenarnya alhamdulillah Bayu memiliki ada kekurangan dalam bagaimana Bayu bisa memperkenalkan kulit ini secara mendalam. Tetapi secara keseluruhan, tetapi kalau Bayu sendiri karena lebih kepada food, nah Bayu juga suka kuliner, suka nonton MasterChef juga, jadi Bayu tertarik outputnya, insya Allah kalau rezeki Prof, Bayu S3 apakah postdoktoral lebih kepada flashingnya, Prof. Flashingnya ini Bayu gunakan untuk dari lemaknya, Prof. Di sini Bayu ingin menguji pelo. Pelonya ini selain dari kulit juga dari berbagai bagian tubuh dalam sapi yang bisa digunakan untuk kualitas minyak, Prof. Ini ada sebenarnya yang di luar konteks yang Bayu bawa, tapi nanti setelah selesai ini. Terima kasih banyak sekali lagi, Prof. Terima kasih banyak adik-adikku semua atas acaranya sungguh luar biasa. Insya Allah Bayu seperti yang disampaikan Prof akan mampir tanggal 25-26 Juni. Semoga termasuk dari UGM yang Bayu kenal, mulai dari Prof Nam terakhir, sekali lagi Bayu bertemu di UHO waktu ada konferensi KICAPS di nggak tahu apa itu, lupa nih, di Unipal Nuwaleo juga. Kemudian juga Prof Yuni itu sering Bayu ikut, termasuk webinar integrasi ilmu agama di Masjid Kampus UGM. Itu Bayu pernah juga ikut dengan beliau juga. Halal Class juga sama Engineer Danardono juga beliau Bayu ikuti. Jadi harapannya pertama kalinya Prof Bayu bisa bertemu kembali dengan beliau, sekaligus juga.
Baik, terima kasih Pak Bayu.
Sama-sama.
Dari Malaysia,
kamu boleh.
Ya,
Iya.
Skin. 95% of that carcass goes for meat. 95% of the value is in the meat. The leather is very much a byproduct. So if you don't find something to do with that leather, it becomes a waste. And it will cause environmental damage, putrefying in the ground. You have to put it in a landfill.
Terima kasih kembali.
All sorts of problems. So what we do in the leather industry, and have been doing.
Nggak ada, semuanya lobbying.
In fact, I think leather manufacturing is the second longest.
Jadi, sekalian, kalau terkait dengan ini, Pak, kami juga juga baru.
The cavemen
Juga
with
tadi
the leather, right?
dikatakan
The oldest, of course, is
semuanya ya
prostitution,
sebenarnya kami
and the
tidak
second
percaya
is
ternyata
leather manufacturing.
ya termasuk salah satunya yang tadi di apa namanya sampaikan
If we don't process
yang mana kami
it,
waktu pertama kali kan kita
by virtue of some
kira
of those
itu
photos
betul
you
ya
saw there, the old traditional styles of
kemampuan
processing
masing-masing
leather
teknologi
are
mereka
inherent
mampu
within
membuat
environmental
suatu
problems.
dia
You've seen all
yang punya nilai yang
when it's not managed
pasti
properly, and it's still seen as a polluting industry.
ya
You know, it's a dirty industry.
baik dari sekalian terima kasih atas diskusinya dan dengan
But I think what's happened over the last 20 years through companies like LWG, SLF,
Kalau scope 3,
legislation
preservation and sustainable planning
and has been
processes.
forced to adhere to those legislations.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So I think now we have a really, truly sustainable product, and I'll show you later how that fits in circularity as well. So yeah, potential impacts, circularity. We're coming to it now, and leather is a byproduct. We'll look at these two in a little bit more detail. How am I doing for time? Let's make time up. Berapa? Oh, I won't go for 30. I might still sing a song. And here I am once more. I've been threatening to sing a song. So, what is circularity? Anybody know what circularity is? Anybody want to tell me what circularity is? Oh, you're too malu? Malu, orang Indonesia. So the Cambridge Dictionary definition is the fact of constantly returning to the same point or situation. That's circularity. And here we have, in a schematic view, from resource and design through production, use and consumption, end of life, return and return. So it goes. That's something that's circular. So I want to prove to you that leather So here just another schematic showing that. Circularity, moving away from a linear economy. So you're not just consumerism. You go and you buy 20 shirts because they're cheap and they're from Bangladesh or whatever, and you can afford 20, so you buy 20. And you throw them out in a month because the quality is poor. So look at moving cyclical model, designing out waste and non-sustainable. So in the design stage, not first stage, work out how we can use truly sustainable materials in the design of the product, and to minimize the waste that will be produced in the product. Reduce waste in the manufacturing of the product and extend the product life. If you buy a pair of shoes, they only last a year and then they go to waste, or you buy a pair of shoes and they last you 10 years. Because you like to get lots of shoes. But even my beautiful wife, istri saya cantik, she says, sayang, I'm going shopping. I'm going to beli sepatu. Tapi harus kulit.
Makasih banyak Nas, minta maaf kalau ada salah. Namamu siapa lagi? Apa? Minta maaf kalau ada kata-kata.
That shoe was finished, you have to buy and wear and throw away. Of natural systems. That's the circularity. And I think what we've been talking already, leather really the leather industry. So where do we have? From the tannery to the factory to the product to the consumer. Back into you've got a full circularity because from the consumer it comes back to the farmer. The raw material for leathers is the highest spin. The highest spin is the these are all points I've talked about. Leather has the potential for numerous consumer options. Okay. Let's focus a little bit on this slide.
Begitu juga semuanya ya.
That are made in the tannery, they go to the sheep factory, they go to the garment factory, they go to the factory, and we get the traditional leather. From that cowhide, look at all the other things.
Selesai juga.
The bones, horns, and hooves.
Terima kasih banyak ya sudah dimencat semua.
From the edible fats, we can make soaps and cosmetics. Meat and dairy, we can use it as gelatin.
Iya deh, hati-hati kok. Sampai ketemu lagi. Mana Prof? Deh. Ada yang mau bayi ketemu, ada juga bayi bawa. Apa sih? Ini yang bayi janjikan kemarin. Ini dari minyak ayam ini. Tapi masih berminyak. Nah ini dikasih untuk ini yang kemarin yang Bayu buat ini untuk emulsi es krim nanti. Dari bruto itu dibuat minyak, bukan dimakan, begitu maksudnya. I'm so sorry.
They said, oh, we ship these to Nigeria. So all the hides in the east of Africa have been shipped to Nigeria, Makan. And apparently it's also aphrodisiac as well. So this is impacting the blood products. So just to look at industrial materials. Goes for soap and also cosmetics. When I started out in the industry, many bigger tanners had a tallow factory.
Aram Bayu lepas ini ya. Ya. Terima kasih banyak sudah memakai.
Tallow into the soap factory. Also you can make candles and cosmetics. Bones, horns, and hooves for glues, adhesives, a big supplier into the adhesives industry, and lubricants and biodiesel.
Bayu mau ketemu Prof Irfan di mana ya? Apa?
Biological compounds, medicine,
kegiatan apa itu, Dek?
enzymes,
Mau uji di mana?
Please don't ask me any questions on
Oh iya, biar Bayu menunggu saja. Tidak apa-apa. Mau uji di mana kah? Di
circularity of leather.
Oke. Waduh, Bayu lupa deh.
So key issue for you guys.
Ya. Jangan salaman. Masa kok nggak salaman? Kata terakhir nih, Dek.
All parts of the world. support resource efficiency and supports the circular
Mantap itu deh.
sustainability. We're getting to the really
Bentar, kalau ini ketika
so you've got full circularity. If you throw
Kalau apa yang ketinggalan jadi?
an old pair of shoes into the soil, it will degrade naturally. It will act as a fertilizer to replenish the soil. Reuse and repair, repurpose. How many times I've had shoes
Plastik deh,
mainly
nggak ada.
from Echo in very good shoes, beautiful leather. But I have to throw the shoe because the sole, the plastic, the synthetic sole or the adhesive in the conditions in Asia, Echo, the real problem. If you leave them not in air conditioning, they degrade. So beautiful leather. I had one beautiful pair of full animal veg tan leather gloves. Put them, I'd forgotten about. I put them in a box. I was living in Singapore for 2 years. I want to use these golf shoes, so I took them out of the box, went to the golf course, put them on, teed off first tee. I could feel something happening. By the time I got to the second hole, the soles had completely come off. The shoe had to be thrown away.
Udah on nih.
Looking at ways that you can repair and
Ini disimpan nih. Ini minyaknya kata tadi minyak ini. Ini minyak minyak.
When I was younger, I played a lot of sports, soccer, cricket. I played quite good level soccer. I was ready.
Ini yang kemarin itu minyak ayam. Bukan kocoto ini. Kental sekali nih teksturnya. Bayu baru dari beberapa bulan hari lalu Bayu buat. Maaf deh, maklum Bayu nggak bisa jawab soalnya.
In bright colors and Messi wears
Nah itu Bayu akan coba dulu. Anda ini kan namanya TNE. Trial and error.
So, challenges.
Udah nih aman jangan ya. Udah coba semua nih, nggak usah bertanya. Apa coba? Sudah coba. Apa?
Impact water.
Sekali.
We have to put in best practice to stop that. Ethical concerns, animal welfare, modern slavery, resource use, water, energy, and chemicals. So we have to use these, and they will cause us harm across the industry. So we have to mitigate, we have to design our production in such a way that we mitigate against excessive use of water, excessive use of energy, and harmful chemicals not handled properly.
Ikan mau lewat workshop.
And environmental concerns. Again, this is very much about what I was talking about this morning. Deforestation and land use. These are issues criticism as an industry we have to address. How can we address it?
Kompleks perumahan berarti ada di situ.
I think as an industry we've been seen to be quite conservative. New chemicals coming in first to the textile industry, for example. Slowly find their way into leather. Leather is always the last late development. But innovation has happened. Like we talked about, the professor talked about the different tannage types. Metal-free, novel and traditional vegetable tanning. Not just So we mitigate the risks so that 99.99% of the chrome is taken up and fixed if we can manage to do that, and then balance the chrome with another anti-fragile like micropolyphenol, like natural vegetable to get the desired effect. That's the innovative approach in tanning cars. Recycle waste to create new materials. Traceability systems. Again, we touched on this before. This is vitally important. And SLF, LWG are both really, really critical on these systems, and especially looking at that.
Ini praktik ke mata kuliah apa? Takutnya terganggu. Ini mereka bertiga praktik ke mata kuliah apa ini? Mutu apa? Oh berarti kau minat. Oh mati hati berarti. Waduh. Kira pikir wajib ini kalau kau.
How important it is to minimize risk of hazardous chemicals and the loss of the chemicals. You know, through it's not touched on from the point of best available techniques using polypropylene drums, which use less water and
lupa.
There's a company, some consulting.
Kenapa? Ada apa? Dari apa? Apa? HP? Wah, nggak tahu tuh.
Into the return. You can reduce your energy by 15-20%. You reduce
Bisa dengar dulu deh isi praktikumnya apa? Oh, belajar juga. Bisa kecil-kecil, bisa kecil lagi. Oke. Jangan nggak boleh.
It's environmental. Why are they? Because you're more concentrated solutions. So they're more concentrated. They go into the fiber structure more deeply. So the pea-sized inert spheres act as a lubricating agent themselves, helping to increase the mechanical action. So things like that, you know, to get that, if you went to a tannery and said, I can save you 30% on your chemicals, 20% on your energy, 30%, 40% on your water use, they jump at it. But it's very hard. It's very hard to get tanners to change. Very, very hard. But we've been forced to do that. Don't say synthetic leather. This is an area where I get very frustrated about synthetic alternatives. Let's just read it. The abuse of the use of the term vegan. So this is deliberate by the propaganda and the marketing and the branding gurus in the world when they want to push something. So they deliberately use the term vegan to represent any synthetic material has been a huge contributor to the misinformation that exists for consumers today and in the antithesis of a circular model. We as an industry, as a leather industry, we've always had problems marketing ourselves and selling ourselves what we're good at, what are the benefits of the products, because traditionally the tanneries are all small family-owned businesses in Asia, Chinese, ethnic Chinese, Muslim, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and good Catholics. So the family business. So we've never been able to, not like the textiles, the big conglomerates, we've not been able to get together and really send a positive, constructive picture of our industry, especially now when we've cleaned up a lot of the problems. And we have a truly sustainable, we really have a sustainable substrate. Whereas this practice, mushroom,
harus bawa semua kulkasnya antar.
You have to hold it together. You have to print it together. It's done through plastic. So it's a complete greenwashing. Because the world leather was always put down, and then let me ask you all, how many of you here stand up with leather shoes on?
Si Bayu pulang nggak ya udah dok?
See, but more of a worry when I asked this to a room of tanners, like we had all the Indonesian tanners in Malang.
Dek, terima kasih banyak nah, sampai ketemu lagi. Pasti itu banyak sekali di mana. Di lain waktu. Ya. Tahu dah. Ya, Assalamualaikum.
10 minutes? Me? So consumers have been led to believe by very, very high-powered marketing campaigns that if it says vegan, then it must be sustainable. This is a major untruth, and this is something that we have to work on. Even, as I said, Professor, legally, there's legal cases think still
tahu hanya ingin
asynthetic leather. You can't use the term.
Jadi Bayu post saja ke WA saja langsung ya. Jadi Bayu langsung konsul ke WA.
Illustrate my point.
Yeah.
From a circularity perspective, any petroleum-based product derived from fossil fuels does not support a sustainable circular system. Petroleum extraction creates new
product
manufacture creates some potential impacts as leather production with fuel controls, release of microplastics, and non-biodegradable products are an environmental hazard. So here, if we look at, this is a production like a Skechers production, let's say, right? We're just producing new methane, which is accumulated in the atmosphere. Here we have a natural cycle again, from the starting point, the cows and manure. Atmospheric CH4 into methane oxidation through the cloud CO2, photosynthesis into plant matter, and then back consumed by the cows. So you have a closed loop. You have a circular system. This one. This is contributing to Greta Thunberg's climate change. So, we've talked a lot about how the positive things about has to take responsibility for what it can do to improve the situation. So some pointers here. Value chain partnerships to ensure sustainable sourcing, cleaner production, responsible and ethical business practices. And key, I'm getting so excited, consumer education and partnerships to ensure that they're getting the real truth. They're not being deluged. They're getting to know the true facts of what leather is, what a synthetic substrate is. We have the material world in which we live now, which is consume, 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 consume. No, no. Don't buy that $1 Bangladeshi t-shirt. Go and buy a quality one that's going to last you for 10 years. Buy Paul Smith but a really good one, right? So buy less, choose better, maintain and repair products. So your sneakers, trainers, plastic, rubbish, fall apart, what do? Throw them away. Leather shoes. You take them to a cobbler. Cobblers have existed for years. Right, the cobbler will repair and mend those shoes. You take him a plastic shoe, a bit more difficult, right? And support responsible brands with loyalty. So stay loyal. If you have a product that served you well, like with my soccer shoes, I went every year to Puma or to Patrick and bought the next Puma King when it came out because it served me well. Reciprocate. So these, I think I'm doing really well for time, actually, 5 minutes. These are just a few slides at the end to cap what we've been talking about both presentations today. So research, collaboration, and scholarship opportunities. We need to be able to know that we've got an impact or an aspect. We need to measure it and report it. In doing that, we can lead to impact reduction and social improvement. Impact reduction. Just another way of saying things. Research into alternative canning technologies, we discussed that. Development of safer chemical formulations, methods of dosing. The chemical supplying industry has been forced through legislation to change a lot of its component parts. I remember in the 1980s when I started with Earnshaw's leather finishing, they made the best finishing pigments in the world. They had a yellow pigment which was based on cadmium. Cadmium was banned 20 years later, and they had to reformulate it, and it was never the same. So, waste utilization, collagen, gelatin, reuse of waste products. We've seen all those before: energy saving, water saving, process efficiency, innovation, chemical management, and valuation of waste. So impact measurement and reporting, academic development of consistent indicators for resource use, emissions, chemical management, and waste, improvement of reliability of data collection, verification and reporting, research into data technologies, platforms, data protection and access, and alignment with existing frameworks and regulation. We don't just focus on the environment. Human beings, even though it looks like we're being replaced by AI or Elon Musk is wanting to put chips in our heads and make us into Borgs, we're still important. So we look at the social importance, research, identification of human rights, hotspots and risks in complex supply chains. So if you've got a supply chain that has something going on in Nigeria or Malawi or Vietnam or whatever, you need to be aware of all those risks and potential hotspots. Community improvement, noise, smell opportunities, research for ethical sourcing, due diligence and best practices, access and improvement for employee development and corporate improvement, and workplace standards for health and well-being. That's social improvement. And I think this is my last slide. So I tried to put something in, a bridge between industry and academia. because we're in an establishment of academia, a learning center or a university. So bridging the gap between theoretical knowledge and practical application. Knowledge transfer, cross-pollination between industry organizations, bodies, associations, with universities and other academic institutions, enables research to be more relevant. This in turn makes tools and standards more actionable in practice. So it's aligning the academic to the actual hands-on in practice. Partnerships and consortiums, bridging complementary skill sets together to enable more successful piloting in the real world, understanding and testing, and skills development, providing academic programs and professional training to cope with the development.
Okay, thank you for the interesting presentation from Mr. Chris Jacqueline. So for the discussion time, is there any questions for any participants online and offline? Oh, yes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jacqueline. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. I knew you could sing when I saw your hairstyle. You should sing more. I am Ashikur Rahman from Sylhet Agricultural University from Bangladesh. Yes. Yes, thank you. And my question is from the morning session. I would like to ask that if you had to choose between chrome tanned and vegetable tanned leather for a product you'll use yourself every day for 5 or more years, which one would you choose considering the impact on human health? Anything like that comes with your contact with your skin.
We can't get the technology. Oh, that's better. This is a singing microphone, is it? And here I am once more. I think the professor used the term semi-veg. I think a combination, as I answered a question this morning, what I thought about the different tanning techniques. I think a combination of vegetable polyphenols with an efficient use of chrome gives you the best balance, because you can do a lot more. You can get a lot more softness and durability. You get some retention and stiffness from the vegetable tannings, for example. So you have to tailor make the tanning for exactly what sort of leather you need. And within that, you have, when you're working with restricted substance lists and all this, you have no health problems, no problem at all. But the tanning, I would say, my preference, I mean, I've worked a lot with the glutaraldehyde polyphenol system, and they've improved it a lot. And if you were making skin, soft skin leather, goat or sheepskin, 1.2 millimeter, you can get very good results. But as soon as you go to full hides, you can't get the results. So in that case, I would always defer as my default position chrome in combination with polyphenols or vegetarians. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Whereabouts in Bangladesh are you from? Which part? Dhaka?
Yes, I'm from Dhaka. My home is from Dhaka.
Okay, I've been to Khulna, Cox's Bazar,
Sylhet, maybe?
Chittagong, used to call it Chittagong in the old days, right? Beautiful country, beautiful country.
Yes, thank you.
In fact, I was in Bangladesh 2 years ago when you had this military coup when the police and army were fighting, and lady, what was her name, your president?
Sheikh Hasina.
Sheikh Hasina ran off to her boyfriend in India to to cuddle up to Modi before he was cuddling up to Netanyahu. That's another story. So I was stranded there 4 days in the Radisson Hotel there in Dhaka, because Singapore Airlines wouldn't fly in. So I said, want to go home? I got to go home. No, we're not flying. Thank you.
Okay, so now we got a question in the chat box. Yeah, from Aura Zahwasera. If there are always trade-off, what trade-off do you personally think is the hardest challenge for the leather industry to solve sustainability?
Jesus, that's a good question. What trade-off do you think is the hardest?
What's the hardest challenge for the leather to solve the trade-off problem?
I think whenever you try and improve input products like the chemicals, because there's a constraint on them, you always run the risk of making a lower quality product. So regarding to solve sustainability, we've got a sustainable product anyway. So I don't think we don't have to solve sustainability. We've just discussed how sustainable it is. It's a very hard question. Can I defer? It doesn't really make sense. If there are always trade-offs, what trade-off? Good question. Let me think about it. Think about this one. I can do that. I can think about it. It's a good question. Very good question. Maybe Zainal has an idea. No. You've stumped us, whoever that is. Oh, that's Dr. Douglas.
Yeah.
Did I answer your question, Dr. Douglas?
Trade-off means like balancing environmental impact, durability, cost, animal welfare, and consumer demand at the same time. I think Siemens like the main challenge when considering. Yeah, there is still 2 more questions, but it's from the Aura. I think she's asking about the challenge, the trade-off. Like,
They're all important. They're all important.
Yes.
There's always a trade-off, and there's always an impact, one way or the other. So we live in a duality. This reality that we live in is a duality. You can't have good without bad. You can't have right without left. So, yeah, I want to defer again. What's the next question?
Yes, but
This is from
from Dr. Douglas. Sustainability of leather manufacturing is driving the cost of leather products. So what is the future of leather products in the foreseeable future?
Yeah, this has always been a big problem, and it's accelerated in the last years. Costs have gone up, and the brands are always pushing for prices to go down. So it's a dichotomy. It's not sustainable to have that. So it left a gap where these synthetic substrates came in, various companies like BMW, like Adidas, were using more and more synthetic. I think they've also seen over time the lack of performance of those substrates against leather. So I see now a little bit optimistic of a resurgence of leather, especially in the shoe area. And I think we've got to go back to the marketing issue as well. We have to come together and market ourselves better, because it's all okay as saying all this and proving that we're sustainable, but we have to get that out into the marketplace and make the market aware of that. The technical performance, I think there's no doubt, and people that have a pair of leather shoes and a pair of synthetic shoes, they know. So we have to market. And then I see there's always going to be a leather industry, right? There has to be.
Yes, so even though like the trying to sustainability, but the market is still the important thing, right? So yes, this is another question. Actually, this is the question from the morning sessions from Monet de Castro. So she is asking, what is the current status of the acceptance and implementation of legislative regulations among different countries concerning leather technology in relation to 33 environmental, social and governance principles. Yeah, this is about the morning material.
This is a fundamental change, and it's been mandated, certainly in the European Union, it's been mandated into effect over a time period, sequentially, and at every point there's review. So there is kickback, like the deforestation, wise leather included in that, it was kicked back. So there is a lot of kickback, but essentially they will, because they're the controllers, they will get what they want. So we have to adhere to their requirements. Yeah? I'm good.
Yeah, I think it's clear for the answer for Monet. So now, unfortunately, the time for the discussion is already over. And for now, we'll be giving out the certifications. We could ask Mr. Zainal for the two certifications.